We are back from the international break, and it is Championship predictions for round 10. Busy 3-game week coming up, busy time coming up. So let's get into it with the great Sam Parkin, or the not so great in the scores at the moment, Sam. I went 5-2 up last time, courtesy of 2 bob-ons here. Wrexham 1, Birmingham 1 I got, and Watford 2, Oxford 1. We've had 2 draws as well, but as we were just saying before we hit record, I did this a couple of years ago, and then you're like a parachute team. You started badly and then just blitzed through the winter, winning about 9 on the trot. I hope that doesn't happen again. Let's start, and I'm glad you're going first on this one. Probably the most trickiest one of the round here. The Friday night Sky TV game is Middlesbrough versus Ipswich. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, mate. Good to see you. Yeah, that'll be a really interesting game, given that there's been a little bit of a break. I think maybe I'm going to side with caution here. I just think that, Friday night, after having such a good start to the season, it might be a difficult game for Ipswich. Normally, given the squad that they've got and the momentum that they've found, I would hedge my bets and go with them, because I think they're more likely to be around the automatic positions over Middlesbrough despite their fast start. I'm going to go for a 1-1 here. I think I'm going to go for the crowd to play a part. Middlesbrough start to the season and then be really competitive, but Ipswich quality to be good for a share of the spoils. 1 each.
Well, that's a scribble.
Sorry, mate.
I was going to sit on the 1-1, so you've given me an excuse to back Ipswich here.
You do
I agree with you that probably the trend is better. You can probably argue a slight trend down for Middlesbrough after a brilliant start versus a slight trend up for Ipswich, who look like they're getting somewhere. I think a lot of Middlesbrough's games have been tight and, maybe the odd little penalty box moment has decided it, if that's not stating the bleeding obvious. So as much as it could be 1-0 the other way, I might back it'll either be Borough will win it with some little penalty box or set play tight thing, or Ipswich will win it with a bit of quality, I think. So I'll go for Ipswich to win it with a bit of quality then, which would be a great start, because then they go back-to-back home games, Ipswich, in the 3-game week. So I'll go Borough 0, Ipswich 1. Oxford versus Derby. Maybe I'll cash my draw in for this one. I'm struggling to separate these two. If this was at Pride Park, maybe I might back Derby, but I don't know. This is just muck and bullets already with them both. One's 20th, one's 22nd, and neither have got going. So I will take the 1-1 here, Sam, and eagerly await your take on a couple of your mates in the dugouts as well on this one. You can't win.
I think that Oxford look like they're going to be improved offensively this season. A little bit more creativity and maybe slightly different style being embedded there. I'm with you. I'll be astonished if there's more than, say, 3 goals in this game. I think it'll be tight, really fine margins. But I think I said last time we spoke that I think Derby are getting their act together. And I'm going to go for Derby here. I'm going to go for Adjumang maybe to be the guy that propels them into better form. I'm going to go for Oxford, good for a goal because of what I just said on them. But Derby to get 2. 1-2. County? Nobody calls them County today. Derby County. The Rams to win on the road.
You called them everything now. QPR versus Millwall, Sam.
Yeah, difficult to get a proper read on Millwall, I think. Just when I'm a little bit up on them, they fail to impress me. Certainly when I've seen them live this year, they didn't play particularly well, but they're going well. I feel like this is a bit of a dangerous game for QPR. I think they've been burnt by this fixture previously. However, there's real goal threat at QPR. There seems to be renewed confidence amongst the squad. They look like a good outfit now. So I'm going to have to side with QPR. I think it'll be tight. I think I'm going to go for another 2-1 home win.
I'm contemplating flipping that just for the championship chaosness of it. QPR are obviously top of the form table, and Millwall have been inconsistent. I'm seeing draw, win, draw, loss, win. So it's stripy. They're not doing the same of anything in a row, particularly, are they? I mean, if QPR do win and have a good week here, they're going to put themselves right in the promotion race, because you start to take 6 games of good form into 7, 8, 9, 10, don't you? So I will just go for a very championshipy surprise, and I'll flip your scoreline, Sam, and I'll go Rangers 1, Millwall 2, and a surprise away win. Southampton versus Swansea. Eek. We're sitting here waiting for Southampton to get going, aren't we? It's like, when is going to be the point we can just predict them to win a lot? I don't think we're there yet. And I know you were quite sweet on Ross Stewart returning and starting the streak, and he's hurt again, isn't he? Does the week help them, or could they have just done with playing more games, Southampton? Now, Swansea, I think, are good, but then are lower in the table than I thought they were. Kind of in my head, they're above 12th place with what they've done, but the table tells me they're 12th. So, take that for what it is. Shall I play another draw? I think I want to give Swansea something in this one, Sam. I'm going to play another 1-1.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all, because Swansea have had a terrific start to the season, no question about that. I think, having seen Southampton relatively recently, I think they're capable of making it quite a tight game. I think they have got their act together in terms of their setup is consistent. But yeah, I found it a little bit, it's the Sheffield United game I'm talking about, a little bit possession without that purpose and that real thrust, which Ross Stewart did give them on that night after about half an hour in. He was a real outlet for them. Having lost him, I think finding goals and converting opportunities, will continue to be a little bit of an issue. But I think they're good for a win here. So I'm just going to side with caution and go for a hard-fought 1-0 home win.
Birmingham City versus Hull City. A Curtis Davis derby for your old mate there, Sam.
Yeah, and it almost feels like we're in kind of must-win territory here for Birmingham, I think. It's been, I think we spoke of the owner's comments pre or post Wrexham or whatever it was the other day, and obviously good for a point, but failing to score goals, make enough opportunities probably to win games. So Chris Davis, it sounds like, is getting a little bit of flack, surprisingly or unsurprisingly. But I think Hull is the type of team that will play quite open from what we've seen this season, so maybe they'll have better joy in that regard. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw here. I think it could be shaded. I think there's going to be goals. So I think it could be, maybe 2-1 either way. But I'm going to side with caution and go for a 2-2, which would probably be a decent enough outcome for both clubs at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to take the 2-1. I think I agree with most of what you said, actually, in terms of Hull might be quite open, which might be helpful for Birmingham, who struggle to make chances. But then Hull also have McBurney as well, who's been in brilliant form. So I'm going to give him a goal for that reason. Just on your threat level, for Chris Davis, they go to Preston in midweek and then Bristol City at the weekend. So it's a problem if they don't win this game, because they've got back-to-back aways, and then you start to stretch out a poor run. So I will go for them to get the win, and I'll go Birmingham 2, Hull 1. Charlton versus Sheffield Wednesday. I will be rather predictable here and go for a home win and a Charlton clean sheet. I think they'll like this fixture, Charlton, and I think they'll win this fixture. I think they could possibly be higher in the table than the 13th they are now, if a few other things in games had kind of gone for them rather than against. Wednesday got through international break so far without being deducted any points for the late payment stuff and the constant back and forth. Maybe the EFL can't find Mr. Chansiri to talk to and to give him the points deduction. So, Do I go 1-0 or 2-0? I'll go 1-0 Charlton, Sam.
Yeah, that feels like kind of an outcome we might see quite a lot in Sheffield Wednesday games. Maybe decent level of performance and obviously the effort level, but maybe not having that quality and that real nous to keep out a side so savvy as Charlton. So I probably would have gone 1-0. So maybe I'll just extend it to 2-0. Important for Charlton that they don't lose again. Back to back would rock them after such a fine start. And I think, having seen Sheffield Wednesday go to Portsmouth, it's that kind of complacency that's potentially going to affect the teams when they come up against Wednesday with respect. So Charlton will have to be at it because we know Wednesday are capable of the odd shock, but I'll go 2-0 at the Valley to the home side.
Coventry, our leaders, versus Blackburn.
Yeah, Blackburn, I think the team we spoke of, with the potential, obviously, to have a manager that's going to be under fire quite soon, unless they find a little bit of consistency. But in that second half performance, I think it was against Stoke last time out, they were a little bit more creative and shot heavy and looked a little bit more forceful. So they'll want to take that into this game. Certainly against a team who's brilliant in all departments at the moment. I have to go for the home win, but maybe given what I just said, I'll give Blackburn a goal at Cov, and I'll give Coventry 3 goals rather than the normal 5 or 7 or whatever. But
to be fair, Sam, they're averaging 3.
Maybe for them to get breached because the clean sheets have been racking up as well. So 3-1.
Which is a scribble, my end. I've got Coventry with I don't see it as a hammer in. I had a Blackburn goal in there. I'm going to, I assume 97% of people are going to be on the home win on this one, given the form of the two teams. But hey, the 2-week break could change stuff, but then there's home advantage as well. So I'll take a 2-1 then. I'm kind of like you. I fancy, I don't know, Hedges or a Campbell or a Morris Sheeter or, Harshy or what. But there's a goal in Blackburn, I think, and Big Val does go for it, but Coventry too good at the moment. 2-1. Norwich v Bristol City is the Liam Manning derby. This guy has to win this game, doesn't he? They are... And actually, you can tell me in your prediction, Sam, your theory, which I quite like, about managers losing 6 consecutive games. So this, I believe, would be a 6th consecutive home defeat. I don't know whether that's in all comps or the EFL. You can tell me whether your theory holds for home, just home games as well, even if you had the away games in between. But let's go, because I like Liam Manning. Let's go for Norwich to get the win against my better judgment here, because I think Struber will be all over this, won't he? He'll be saying they have got no confidence. You play aggressive against them and you'll turn the crowd and you'll win the game. But let's go for Norwich to have had a good 2 weeks. They haven't had a good 2 weeks, have they? But you know what I'm saying. We'll go for Norwich to win 1-0.
Yeah, I kind of echo everything you said there, really. I really want Liam Manning to turn things around there. I think given, all the elements here, obviously grew up locally and, East Anglia's his part of the world, really, where he was schooled as a footballer and his coaching journey began. So, I really wanted to see him do well because I think he's a fine guy.
And I didn't mention, Sam, sorry, he's up against the team he got into the playoffs last season.
Yeah, I think this is a horrible game for him, in truth. Right. I think it's always difficult, and I'm sure the guys will have their own coping mechanisms and would never publicly say this, but it's not ideal going up against people who would be friends. I'm sure in the backroom staff and lads that he'll have a close relationships with. I think that's really difficult, but he'll know their weaknesses as well. And how to set his team up. I'm going to go for a 1-1 here. I just think Bristol City, and sorry, I haven't looked at the statistics this morning, but I just think Bristol City have all, and especially under this new manager, have always got the capability to probably be a more dangerous team away from home than they are at Ashton Gate. Nice place to go and play football, good stadium, nice open pitch.
You're correct, Sam. Let me give you the numbers. 2 points per game away from home. Third in the away table, and they've played a game fewer than the entire top six continue.
Yeah, and I think that would have been maybe not the case every Championship season in recent memory, but certainly they've had good records on the road. So I think 1-1 here. And yeah, to answer your question that you posed a few moments ago, I think it does translate. I just think home form is so important because the fans are there in more numbers, and to keep wandering away from Carrow Road on bleak autumnal evenings, winter evenings with nothing to show, and drowning your sorrows with a lager or two after another home defeat, I think that sticks around in the mind rather than, maybe the portion of supporters that travel on the road. It's so important, imperative, I think, at home. The boos are louder, aren't they, for obvious reasons.
Sheffield United versus Watford, Sam, and it is not going to be Ruben Sayers versus Paolo Pezzolano. It's going to be Chris Wilder versus Javi Gracia, who has returned.
Yeah, and Chris Wilder obviously had that brief spell in charge of
course he did,
Watford as well. Again, not ideal for Chris Wilder when he's kind of scratching around for that consistency coming up against a team who, have got a savvy operator now in charge. Supporters will be a little bit enthused. Players will have a extra spring in the step. I think maybe this is a draw again. I've had 2 1-1s. I'll go for a 2-2 here. I just think Watford have got the capability to pose issues, and I just think Sheffield United are going to take a little bit of time to find consistency. So 2-2 here again. Sheffield United need wins, but not the worst outcome probably to get them going ahead of a short turnaround.
The people who call my channel an echo chamber are going to be pleased to know that is the third scribble.
Was it? I thought that was a bit of an outside shout, that.
Well, I wanted to give both teams a point. I wanted to acknowledge what you were saying about the potential new manager bounce, and we like Loser and Iran Kunda for goals.
Yeah, and I think it's right. Like, we continue to acknowledge that Sheffield United have got
quality
and issues. I was going to say, they lost last time out, didn't they, at Hull? So, as he was being quick to point out, it's very unlikely this is going to be a quick fix where they win, 4 games on the bounce and shoot up the table. It's probably going to be a slow burner. They will be absolutely fine because they've got so much quality in the squad and a top manager, but not going to start putting teams to the sword overnight, I don't think.
I might give them the win then, Sam. Maybe they'll get a late goal. Maybe it'll be 1-1 and the Blades will sneak something at the end. I guess the only win they got this season was down at Oxford, wasn't it? So, yeah, just need to get the job done, and maybe the new manager bounce would be more pronounced if Watford were at home. Stoke versus Wrexham. Now, I believe I'm right in saying that it's always just 0s and 1s in Stoke's games, and there's never any 2s. Quite like Wrexham at the moment. I think they're heading in the right direction. Do you know what? I might go for an away win here. Stoke have not won for 4. And I think Wrexham are trending in the right direction. Go on. I mean, everything says draw, doesn't it? My God, I'm just looking at this. They've both drawn their previous 3 games, these two sides. But I'm going to do it anyway. I said I was going to do it. So I can't go over 2.5, excuse me. I'll go Stoke 0, Wrexham 1. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I like it, mate. I've only got the 1 away win at the moment as well down. Yeah, I'm with you. The only thing I haven't checked this morning, but I can give you key for more for 1. They'll have had quite a few away, won't they? I think right. Wrexham, Stoke, likewise, I would presume as well. But no, I'm with you. I think Wrexham, it's starting to take shape. I think the 3 or 4 players that he's slowly drip-fed into the side now, recruited obviously in the last knock into the window, has made a big difference to them. But I'm happy to flip you on this occasion. That all said, I think Stoke are, pretty solid now, quite fine margins, their games. I'll go for them to win 1-0. That seemed to be a bit of a feature last season when they just kind of needed something. They were able to churn something out at home. So I'll go for 1-0 hard fought.
Yeah. West Brom versus Preston.
Well, it was 3-0, didn't they, last time out? At Millwall, West Brom, after felt like they were getting their act together. Again, I think they're still a better defensive side than they are an attacking side. Do you know what? I'm going to go for Preston here. Just law of averages, haven't had many away wins, low scoring. I think this probably one goal decides it. Could be a goalless draw. I'll go for Preston to win by a solitary goal in a bit of a statement win to cement their colossal start to the season.
That would be a statement. Would you say 1-0, Sam?
1-0, please. Yeah.
Do you know, I'll take the nil, I think, on this one. I think both sides good kind of defensively. Preston maybe skew better at home. And, they then go back-to-back home games. I think Paul Heckingbottom would be chuffed as anything. Start with a point and then get 4 or 6 from your home games, and you're then really starting to, as you get up to round 12, 13, if Preston are still up there in the top 4, we're all reevaluating our thoughts on them. And just quickly on West Brom, Sam, you say you thought they were getting their act together, but the information I've got from the win at Norwich was Norwich really could have got something from that game. So they got the win, yes. But yeah, I agree with you. I think the more pertinent one is losing 3 at Millwall.
Yeah, that was an eye opener, wasn't it? Considering I think Millwall lose heavy the previous home game to Coventry, didn't they? So that was the biggest surprise, I would say, of the last round, because I thought Millwall, always competitive at home, maybe win by the odd goal, but to smash them 3-0 was a bit of a surprise.
Agreed. Finally is Leicester versus Pompey. I quite like Leicester for the home win here, Sam. 1 defeat in 9. I think it's quite a long, might be 6 or 7 undefeated as well for Leicester. I think, is this possibly an evening kickoff as well? Yeah, must be on the TV in the evening on Saturday. I think Party Marty is going for a bit more like pragmatic parachute approach here. A bit like Paul Heckingbottom when he got Sheffield United up in 21, 22, I think, whatever year it was, I can't remember. But yeah, I like Pompey. You know I like Pompey, but I just think this is too much. So I am going to go tight, 1-0 Foxes.
Yeah, I think, Portsmouth have been really competitive away from home this year. They've had a fine start to the season. They've got 5 points from 4 really tricky away games, including draws at Southampton and West Brom. So that's really good going. I think quite soundly beaten at Ipswich, if memory serves, and got that last-minute consolation to make it look a little bit closer than it probably was in reality. But yeah, I think this is probably a challenge too difficult for them. Not flush with goals at the moment, but very, very well drilled. So it's how well they disrupt Leicester, and if through Yang and Segacic, who were the wide players last time out, I think Chaplin actually played wide in the home win against Middlesbrough, compose a threat and supply Colby Bishop. Yeah, I think Leicester defensively very good. 2-0. Home side.
There we go. So get your predictions down there in the comments. You know how all the scores work. Now, remember, it is a 3-game week, so you won't hear from Sam on the Championship Check-In podcast next week. We'll do 2 sets of predictions, and then we've got that kind of buffer week where we'll catch up with Sam properly. Football is back. Quick run of 6 games. Stick with us. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, comment, etc. And we'll see you next week for round 11 and then round 12 predictions.